Action with Case Press, and I'm here with Aaron Lafarge, who returns to action next weekend at Lights Out Extreme Fighting 6. How are you?
I'm doing great, Alex. Thank you for asking.
Of course, man. Of course. I mean, you're a week out. How are you feeling?
Oh man, feeling that's a great question. I'm feeling great though. I'm feeling as sharp as I could possibly be and excited, focused, and I feel everything is on point.
Awesome to hear. For anyone that doesn't know your story, how did you get into mixed martial arts?
Um, I started wrestling when I was younger. I had a I had an uncle that was a wrestling coach for a very long time. And the funny thing is like he was also into like different submissions. I remember him not just wrestling, but like putting people in rear naked chokes. And so I was really young when I was actually starting to see this stuff. But when I was a kid, I started wrestling, and then as a teenager, I started boxing. So just actually gradually, I knew I wanted to fight, eventually. So everything just started coming together and coming full circle as I got older.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. So before we talk about your fight coming up, I did want to touch on your last fight at Lights Out Extreme 5 against Archer. How did you feel about that performance?
It wasn't my best performance, but it was a fight that I needed. You could say it was a fight that people got to see me dig deep and find a way to win. Arthur is a great fighter, great opponent, and to be honest, he was probably bigger, stronger than my next opponent. And um, I it was like I said, it wasn't my best one, but I found a way to win. I found a way to get a finish too on top of it. So it was good.
If you could take something away from that performance, what would it be?
I learned a lot of valuable things, and a lot of pros and cons. For me, it was more just just believing in myself and just being myself in there, and obviously things that I needed to work on. That was my first fight since the pandemic, so I felt like this fight I'm gonna be even sharper. So for me, I just went back to working on my feet as well, really focusing, on my Muay Thai, my boxing, getting back to where I need to be.
And then on that fight, you were coming off of a year layoff. How difficult was it not fighting in 2020? And then I guess also, were you offered any fights in 2020?
To answer your first question, it was tough. It was, not just necessarily like, obviously everybody was in some type of, going through a lot at that time. So for me, it was just staying focused and just being in the gym. And that's what a lot of people, it was tough not fighting competitively because I'm a competitor. I'm a fierce competitor too. So I'm a person that likes to compete. And just being in the gym, it was tough, but I was in the gym though. To to answer that question, I was just getting better, improving, and I had a couple fights that I was trying to make happen, but obviously during that time it was like things were just very you know they're just very just the world was in a as an awkward place, I guess, at the time. So but now things are starting to get figured out, and I'm back to it, back where I left off. So
Yeah, and I mean, plus living in California, we've been locked down pretty much,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
forever. So it's been pretty.
And actually I've, there's actually, I forgot it, I actually did go to the Midwest for a little bit, and I got some good training with some old friends of mine that are still out there. And, I got good sparring with, a guy who was a former Bellator fighter, and it was a girl that was in Invicta, and I was just helping them prepare for their fights. And like one of my training partners out there in the Midwest he was fought in Bellator LFA. So he fought at 35, 45. So he was a good sparring partner for me. And I picked up a lot of good things. Like he was mainly he had strong Muay Thai foundation. So, I was able to pick up some things from him. We would share knowledge, like grappling stuff. He would show me some striking stuff. So it was an interesting time for me, to say the least. So, I'm thankful for it. And I'm, ready to put all the tools, I gained a lot of tools from my tool bag, you could say.
Awesome, man. That's so awesome to hear. Cody Davis, did you know about him before he was offered to you?
Yeah, I actually did. I know Cody. I know his coach. I know what Cody brings to the table. I know what his background is. I know what it's like to, what he presents. So, but I see him just as another fighter. I don't, he's just another person that's in my way, and I, I'm up for the challenge, and I'm ready to step up to the plate and get the job done.
How do you see this fight? I mean, how do you like the matchup, I should say?
I actually like it. I feel where he likes to be, I'm better than that. So I know he's more of a grappler, as you can see of his previous fights. He's not, he doesn't really like to stand and, you know, trade on his feet too much. I mean, I love that. Actually my last fight, I, I went, me and Arthur, we had good, some good trading on our feet. And, obviously when I scored a takedown, I I realized an opening, but against Cody, I know he's more of a grappler. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that challenge, and I'm excited for it. I think I'm better than him in jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
How do you see the fight going?
I'm gonna be hunting for a finish. So I'm not here. He's a decision fighter. I'm not. I'm a finisher. As you can see, I got some finishes on my record, and I know in the bigger leagues, that's what they like. They don't like point fighters. They don't like decisionators, and that's not me. So I'm looking for a finish.
Decisionator. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Do you have a prediction for the fight?
Yeah, I feel like I'm interested to see you know what he's gonna bring to the table as far as his takedowns, because actually I feel like I'm gonna dictate where this fight is gonna be finished at. If I want to finish him on my feet or if I'm gonna finish him on the ground. So I'll take either one.
Awesome, man. And so looking forward, man, you get this fight under you. What do you want next? Do you want like to fight for the lights out extreme fighting flyweight title? Like, do you want to skip that and go straight to the big leagues? Like, what's in your mind?
That's great questions, Alex. I mean, there's options. There's definitely options, and that's one of them. But like I said, there's also a few other options that I would like to sit down, look into after this fight. And like I've said, I've mentioned to people that the UFC has brought Kamaru Usman to the UFC at 5-1. Yair Rodriguez, who's one of the top contenders, is fighting Max Holloway next. He came in at 5-1. I mean, so it's not, people say like, oh, this is going to be your sixth fight, but it's like I've been doing this a while. This isn't something where I just, like a few years ago wanted to do. This is something I've been doing since I was young, since I was a kid. So it's these big moments. I've been an All-American. I've boxed. I've been in the gym with you know, top boxers, national champion. Like I've been around the game, grapplers as well. So, you know, come out victorious and then focus on what's next. I mean, big leagues or it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm gonna sit down and sit down with my family, friends, and my team and figure it all out. But it wouldn't be such a crazy idea if it's if I get the call to the UFC. It's always crazy until you do it, and then you realize, hey, it's it's possible.
For sure, for sure. I did want to talk about the UFC, and there's a big flyweight trilogy on the in January. How do you see that fight going down?
Oh man, that's I don't know if you noticed, but Figueiredo actually went down to Arizona and started training with Cejudo, and I think that was a huge move on Figueiredo's part because Cejudo, if you know Brandon, this backstory, Brandon Moreno used to live with Cejudo and he used to train with Cejudo. And I actually didn't know the details, but Cejudo kind of put out some things and saying, they were friends, and then he left and he helped Benavides or something, after the tough series. And then Brandon Moreno came out and said, "Hey, I was on the tough series when you were the coach, and you didn't pick me, and I was the last pick." And he goes, I was kind of hurt about that because I thought we were friends. So, it's an interesting thing. Like I said, that's besides the point. Figueiredo is in Arizona now training with Cejudo, and I feel like that's huge because if you think about it, Moreno took him down the last fight. Obviously, I think he was beating him on his feet, with his hands, but he took him down. He was submitting and he found the submission, you know. So I feel or you know, he may got overextended and Moreno ended up on his back. But anyways, he was able to gain control and get a finish. So I think that's big for Figueiredo. We'll see. You know, it's definitely it's going to be another good fight for the fans, for you know everybody.
And you know, the flyweight division right now is it's on fucking fire. There's
It is.
there's never really a boring fight anymore. And
It is.
if you could have a dream matchup with someone that's in the UFC, who would it be?
Well, I would say just a dream matchup, and then somebody that I would really look forward to fighting to, hopefully, you know, soon here in the future. But for me, I would like to fight, you know, somebody like you know, someone like a Brandon Moreno, you know. But there's a guy named Jake Hadley. We had some beef back and forth, you know, before he was in the UFC. Where actually, if you notice, Cage Warriors has been having the organization he came out of was having shows in California, and I said, hey, let's you know, I even was talking to the matchmaker, let's fight happen, and he, you know, he basically turned it down. He didn't say yes, you know. So it was a little upsetting. He had a fight on the Contender Series which he won pretty dominantly, but he fought somebody I feel like, you know, he was the better fighter going in, you know. So he wasn't really too much of a challenge for him. So, you know, I would like to get into the UFC and face an opponent like that, because he, once again, he's more of a grappler. And I feel like, you know, these are guys that I definitely, you know, I'm an All-American in wrestling. I've been around world-class jiu-jitsu guys and some of the best grapplers. So I feel like someone like him is, you know, it's nothing like I've never seen before. You know, it's something I've never seen before. I've definitely seen styles like him. You know, he's kind of funky, but I mean, I could also ground and pound people too. So I would love a Jake Hadley in the future.
That is a fantastic fight, and I could totally see that happening in the future. But thank you so much for your time, man. Good luck next weekend. If you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Alex, and you know, thank you for your time too, Alex. It was great speaking with you. You know, you guys, everybody, can follow me on Twitter. You could also follow me on Instagram. It's Aaron LA_FARGE1. And my sponsors, Castle Rock Environmental. I would like to thank them. I would like to thank Triumphal MMA and BJJ, Roy Ball Boxing, HB Fight Club, Johnny over there, all the guys over there, my teammates, my training partners, Blake Builder, a few more sponsors. I just would like to thank, you know, actually, we'll just keep it there. You know, we'll end it there. So I would just thank all my sponsors. You guys know who you are. And you know, Oliveira's Photography. There's a handful of them. So thank you, Dom, Real Estate Services. So thank you guys. I appreciate everything.